The Kristi Noem, Corey Lewandowski saga just got a whole lot weirder. And who I think is behind all of this, it may surprise you. But first, I want to be extremely clear. Before we dive into any of this story, what consenting adults do in the privacy of their own home, in their online personas, or in their direct messages, that's entirely their business. I don't care at all. Dress up however you want. Send whatever pictures you want. Have whatever kink floats your boat. This is a free country. And adult humans, you get to be whoever you want to be, especially behind closed doors. And I sincerely mean this. Celebrate yourself. Flaunt yourself. You do you, boo. But what I do care about is when people who build their entire political career on telling other people how degenerate and how immoral and how dangerous their private lives are, only to turn out to have private lives that are, let's say, more colorful than their public branding suggests. The hypocrisy is loud, and it is key to this story. And this story starts with Brian Noem, the husband of Kristi Noem, the former Secretary of Homeland Security, the ICE Barbie herself. And just for some background, Kristi's anti-gay record here is clear. This is the woman who signed South Dakota's gender-affirming care ban. She spent her entire career positioning herself as a guardian of traditional Christian family values. And she married her high school sweetheart in 1992 and has 3 children and a brand built entirely on the idea that the LGBTQ community represents a threat to American children and decency. Yet we're finding out, according to a bombshell investigation by the Daily Mail, it was published this week, Brian Noem has been living a secret online life using the name Jason Jackson, in which he stuffed balloons into a crop top to simulate large breasts. He put on pink hot pants, made a little pouty face, and sent photos of himself to fetish models who specialize in bimbofication. And it's a kink, I'm told, that centers around performers augmenting their bodies to look like real-life Barbie dolls with, as one model described, his stated preference, huge, ridiculous boobs. Thus the balloons. ICE Barbie, meet Brian Barbie. And the Daily Mail says that they reviewed hundreds of messages between Brian and 3 different women, all with the same fetish. And he allegedly paid them at least $25,000. He complimented their curves. He called one a goddess. And he reciprocated by sending selfies of himself in women's clothing. One of those models actually accidentally pocket-dialed his account and heard the voicemail greeting say, "Noem Insurance, leave a message." She Googled Noem Insurance, and she found Kristi Noem. Her exact words to Brian, "I thought you should care. Your wife could lose everything she's ever worked for." Prophetic. The Daily Mail, they quoted several intelligence experts. If a media organization can find this out, you can assume with a high degree of confidence that a hostile intelligence service knows this as well. They found it astounding that someone's spouse, who was in charge of the Department of Homeland Security, would have that sort of bad judgment. That's the sort of thing that blackmail is made out of. And Kristi Noem, poor Kristi Noem, her representatives issued a statement saying that she is devastated and that the family was blindsided by this reporting. And where did this leak come from? An Axios reporter, Mark Caputo, posted on X that the source of the leak could have been an undocumented person that was seeking vengeance for actions from the DHS. Put it right there on X. And that story sounds really convenient, really convenient. And I'm going to be very careful with what I say next. That could be true. It could be true that Kristi Noem's husband was doing this for over a year while she ran DHS, and she genuinely didn't know, and that an undocumented person leaked the info in response to DHS's terror campaign. Or there's more to the story here. And for context, and I'll just note, I'm not going to editorialize any further. I'll let you connect the dots here. Kristi Noem was removed as DHS secretary, and Corey Lewandowski, her longtime aide, with whom she's denied an affair, and denied an affair, and denied an affair, also left the department. and they've been seen traveling together since then. And then this story drops shortly after. I'm just noting the timeline. Make of it what you will. I'm just saying that if you want to know who was behind the leak, an investigation might want to start inside the Noem house. And then watch what happens with Kristi Noem and Corey Lewandowski. And enough of that. Let's get back to the hypocrisy here, because this is a GOP pattern that keeps playing out. Kristi Noem, she signed legislation banning gender-affirming care for minors. She spent her entire career saying that LGBTQ people were a threat to children. She has an F rating from GLAAD and a condemnation from the Human Rights Campaign for her legislative record against gay people. And yet her husband was dressing up in women's clothing and paying fetish models while she was enforcing her anti-gay agenda from the top of the Department of Homeland Security. And again, I do not care what Brian Noem does with his private time. Knock yourself out, bud. But maybe, just maybe, the people who want to regulate everyone else's gender expression and their family structure may need to look inside their own house before they sign legislation. And there's a word for this pattern. It's called projection. We go way back to the years of Ted Haggard, Larry Craig, and it continues today. The list goes on and on and on. The louder someone is about what other people are doing in private, the more aggressively you should wonder what they are doing in private. It's pattern recognition. And frankly, the GOP's pattern here is to attack what looks different, because they despise what they see when they look in the mirror. And by the way, your likes, your shares, your comments, they are what help keep us going even when the algorithm wants to bury us or stories like this.